Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another episode. I'm super excited to be sitting down with Matt Roark. He's the director of the We Heart Kent Facebook group. It's a big group. You've got over 4,000 members when I last checked. So, Matt, thanks for joining us today. Do you mind just telling us a little bit about yourself and what it is you guys do in the group?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my name is Matt. Like I said, we founded We Love Kent in 2020 when the pandemic hit. And so we are just a connecting agency, nonprofit ministry of Calvary Chapel South in Kent. And so what we like to do is just we get a lot of donations in of resources, say pallets of food or pallets of furniture or pallets of snacks. And we just support local other nonprofits and ministries and working with community agencies to give it all out for free. And so I never took an income with this whole director job. It was just a vision I had. And we're just a connecting ministry of a church that, we just love people. We love what God's doing in our city. We work closely with business leaders. We work closely with like Rotary and Kiwanis and a bunch of amazing organizations that are doing solid work in the city. And we just collectively come together through the Kent Community Foundation, and we just once a month meetings. We partner with hey, we hear of something like, hey, let's like support each other and get it all out. And so that's kind of logistics of We Love Kent. It's based off a We Love Our City model from Vacaville, California, which started at the Father's House Ministries down there. So we're trying to implement that up here a little bit more. Um, if you guys ever heard of like the Dream Center in LA, we're trying to get that kind of launched up here a little bit further north up in Seattle. And so we're there's a lot of moving parts with We Love Kent, but at the same time, we're just blessing people with resources that they need, connecting people with their community, and making them hopefully get involved, volunteer as a 501c3 ministry of a church. It's really cool that we can sign off on volunteer hours. If you ever need volunteer hours, if you ever need resources or connecting, we try to get you the help you need, because there's many solid organizations within King County and Pierce County that do solid work, and we're just connecting them to those agencies. And then we also have a webpage if you ever want to donate to us to support the cause. It's ccskent.org/We Love Kent. You can click that donate button too. So yeah, that's what we're doing, and we're seeing what the city wants us to do, and we're helping out and just blessing people with resources, which is great.
Yeah, Matt's doing amazing
Yeah.
work. Um, it's not every day that you roll out of bed and just decide to take on a big endeavor. So, what kind of got you inspired and
Sure.
made you decide to embark on this journey?
Yeah, I think it was just a vision I had during the pandemic. We heard of a lot of resources becoming available through the federal government, and they opened it up to a lot of the churches around. And so we just jumped on that ship. And so we decided, hey, let's get this stuff in so it's not wasted and out to the community. And so we partnered with major farms and corporations and businesses around the area, and we got a lot of stuff in. And so we just needed logistics, and so we needed like, hey, be under a banner or be under organizations. And so we each had our own little container at Showware Center in downtown Kent. So we had like a We Love Kent container, a Communities and Schools container, a Rotary container, and we just all shared and resourced out and kind of got the stuff that we got in. I mean, we're talking like pallets of bananas. How do you get that out? Pallets of king crab legs, or pallets of potatoes or apples, or even eggs. I mean, how do you move 50,000 dozen eggs? I mean, we had to figure that out. So that was, that's just kind of how it started, and we're still going strong today. We Love Kent has kind of scaled back a little bit, but there's a lot of partners and agencies that do solid work. The same idea, same motto. That honestly, my whole heart is the Lord just told me to do it. So my passion is ministry, and so God just said, "Hey, let's just do this," and so that's what I'm about. But we also partner with non-faith agencies. We also partner with community clubs and schools, and we partner with the Kent School District and all these other things too. And so it's a vast King County, Pierce County, and so But we partner with a lot of amazing organizations that are doing solid work. It's just not We Love Kent. It's multiple nonprofits working together, and that's really cool to see. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, I mean, I know you mentioned you kind of started
yeah,
the group during the
yeah,
pandemic, so that's been 2-3 years
yeah,
already.
yeah.
I'm sure you had many different experiences and challenges.
Yeah.
I'm just really kind of curious, based on those past few years,
Sure.
what's some of the maybe the biggest lessons or takeaways that you've gotten through this experience?
Yeah. Not wasting stuff. And so we got a lot of stuff in. And so one of the challenges was like if you get a shipment, like a semi load of 27 pallets, like in that Monday, you want to get it out hopefully sooner than later. You don't want to just keep it in the container and let it go to waste. And so, but we did pretty good. We had a lot of help. A lot of volunteers showed up at, we called it Frosty Village back in the day. I love that name, still rings a bell in my head. So we had, Rotary International help out. We had Kiwanis Club work together. We had communities and schools. Tons and tons of people just showed up and helped and volunteered, and it was just a very fine-tuned machine with a lot of logistics being figured out. Box trucks going into apartment communities. We work with Apartment Life, my wife and I, and we still do that to this day, just downtown Kent here. And Apartment Life is a national organization that puts teams of people into apartment communities and does the resident care, events for the property. We have a budget, and we live on site to care for residents. So the management team can focus on management stuff, and we can care for the residents and do events and kind of put on the party of resident events and like pool parties and dinner parties and stuff like that. So that's what Apartment Life does, and so we're still a part of that, which is great. And so all in all, like there were some problems here and there, but just minor stuff. We never had an accident, which is amazing. That was a blessing. Getting food out to communities in a box truck and the rental and insurance, and we had to figure all that out. But our church was just gracious enough. Sometimes it was challenging when you got a $64,000 grant and you got to buy farm food in 8 weeks and give it out. Like, how do you manage that? And so, but we worked with 3 payments of that, and we got food out to the T. And I think we only had like 4 or 5 cents left over. I can't recall, but we got food out. We got people fed, and I think we're still feeding because there's a lot of need in our area. And so that King County has a drug crisis going on. We have a homeless pandemic in itself. And so how do we as nonprofits and faith-based organizations work together with our local government? And I'm not dissing on the government, but the government can't solve all the issues. So how do we as nonprofits and faith leaders come together and take back our city for kindness and compassion? How do we get the resources to those that need it the most? Because it's desperate times. I mean, there's a lot of challenges that our city are facing, and so how do we work closely with the mayor? One of the challenges that I always tell people, it's like, if there's a school that's a low income and high poverty, high needs school, and maybe there's a church or an organization next door that they're just there and not doing anything about it, there's a problem. Like, how do we as a church adopt a school? How do we as a maybe a business adopt a school and go volunteer at the school and help and support the schools and support the residents in apartment communities or mobile home parks or even in our city? Like, do you know your neighbor? Like, that's my whole thing. Like, do you know your neighborhood? Like, do you know your next door neighbor? Do you have resources available to help in times of need? And like, my kids have neighborhood friends that they play with every day, and we know all of our neighbors now, which is great. And so that's a challenge I think that our city is facing. Like, hey, get to know your neighbor, get to know your local government, get involved in your city, vote. I mean, voting is important too. And so, because we can be the change in our city, in our region, in our world, and it takes you and I to be bold in that step. So,
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do with
yeah,
6,000,
yeah,
60,000
yeah, yeah,
eggs
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever. So for you to be able to figure that
yeah,
out, it's just amazing what you've been able to do.
yeah.
Um, if people do want to get involved, people,
Sure.
businesses, what's the best way for them to get involved? How can they connect with you?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're launching something fairly new this year. We're going to do 2 Serve Saturdays. And so basically, it's a 3-hour window. of service opportunities that we're planning, hopefully for the end of October, early November timeframe, and then one in the spring. And we're going to bless, we're going to do a project at a senior center, or go paint, over vandalism, or go litter pickup, or, and those are easy opportunities. We have some shirts that you guys can wear, stuff like that. So you can always reach me at ccskent.org/We Love Kent. Follow our Facebook page at We Love Kent. It's also We Heart Kent, the emoji heart. Or follow us on Instagram, We Love Kent Northwest. And so the NW actually. So those are opportunities. You can personally private message me on Facebook, Matt Roark. I'd love to sit down with coffee. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. But or just reach out and we'll get you plugged in for sure. So
Last question.
yeah,
You're doing all this.
yeah,
You told me off camera you got 3 kids under
yeah.
8.
Yeah.
Oh man, where do you find all the time? And when you have time, is there anything that you enjoy doing on outside of working?
Yeah, so I'm a big outdoors guy, so I like camping, doing stuff, resting, going to the beach. Going to Tacoma tonight, actually. So I'm just hanging out the sunset over there. And but 3 kids under 8. I got 2 girls, 8 and 6, and a boy that just turned 1. So so it's a challenge, and living in an apartment, it's like it's tight, but we're trying to find a house eventually. But that's God's timing for sure. But what we find rest and solitude and just spending time with one another. Being putting your phone down, not watching TV, just going outside, doing stuff as a fam. And so that's my rest. And so it encourages me. And coffee helps too. I mean, energy is always a black coffee for me. So, but and then exercise is important. Balanced diet and stuff like that. And so that's where we find energy to do all this. And I think it's by God's grace too. I think it's by the Holy Spirit's power just to empower me to do what I'm doing, because I can't do it alone. I can't do it without Him, first and foremost. And so nothing from We Love Kent is me. I mean, yes, I have the vision, I have the dream, I have the passion to do it. It's from God above. And so I give glory to Him and my wife for putting up with me, because my crazy ideas and sometimes my ADHD kind of goes all over the place. But I'm like, but for me to see people get fed, to see people apartments get furnished, to see nonprofits partnering together with local organizations and businesses, and partnering with their local mayor. Like, say, if you live in Auburn, start We Love Auburn. If you live in Sumner, We Love Sumner. We Love Tacoma. Like, it's not hard to do. And so just take ownership of your city and be, go out and pick up trash. If it starts with that, great. If it, once a week, go for an hour outside and pick up trash, or know your neighbors. Like, hey, do you need anything? Maybe your neighbor is going through something. And so, or get involved with your local Boys and Girls Club or local school. Maybe, see if you can volunteer. Get to know your mayor. Maybe talk to your mayors. Like, what can I do as a citizen to improve my city? And so that's what I'm all about, and focusing on that. And so those are some challenges that we have to present to ourselves, with everything getting pricier and gas and all this stuff. And so how do we come together and use our resources to bless others? So
Amazing stuff. Matt, I really appreciate your time. No, I know you came here right after work to come meet with me. So everybody, make sure you join the We Love Kent, or We Heart with the emoji Kent Facebook group. And if you want to get involved, reach out to Matt. As always, if you have any real estate questions, reach out to me. But again, Matt, just very appreciative of you, and I'm looking forward to staying connected and giving back.
Yeah, awesome.